We're back. That's right. Public Works Committee from last week. Let's just get into it.
Good evening and welcome to our Public Works Committee meeting for May 2nd, 2024. We will begin with introductions of councilors to my left.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Derek Cahill, District 23.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mike Dilk, District 24.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Josh Bain, District 21.
Good fit from
Thank
Josh
you, Madam
Bain.
Chair. Brian Mallory, District 25.
Moves
Thank you, Madam
back.
Chair. Nick Roberts, District 4, Dyson Castleton area.
He lives with his parents. Has no full-time job.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, colleagues. Andy Nielsen, District 14, East Side.
Trust fund baby.
Ron Gibson, District 8.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jessica McCormick, District 6.
You know, I say this every time. McCormick, I feel like you're doing it against me. Take the sunglasses off. You are an elected official in a committee meeting. Try and be professional.
16, West Side.
Good evening, Chairwoman Jones. Krista Carlino, District
Jeez.
11, West Side.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Dan Boots, District 3, Washington, Lawrence Townships.
Thank you. And I'm Kristen Jones, District 18. First up is Proposal 91, 2024, which authorizes Metropolitan Thoroughfare District, a special taxing district existing pursuant to IC 36-9-6-6.5 to issue new money bonds in an amount not to exceed $90 million to finance certain street, road, bridge, traffic signal, curb, and sidewalk improvements approved in the city's capital improvement plan, and refunding bonds in an amount not to exceed $12,825,000 to refund outstanding Indy Roads revenue bonds. And I'll let you all take it from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Jones and members of the committee. My name is Joe Glass. I'm the Executive Director and General Counsel of the Indianapolis Bond Bank. I'm joined by Brandon Herget, who's the Director of the city's Department of Public Works. For any new members who might not be familiar with the Bond Bank, we are a local government entity created by state statute, which manages debt on behalf of the city of Indianapolis and other
Larry
local,
Vaughn is in the house. Let's go.
government-qualified entities such as Indigo, Health and Hospital Corporation, and the Indianapolis Airport Authority.
Think of them as the Fed for Indiana.
So Proposal 91 before you this evening approves the issuance of bonds by the Metropolitan Thoroughfare District, $90 million in new money bonds to be issued between 2024 and 2027, and up to $8.25 million in refunding bonds to refinance existing Indy Roads debt.
So they need to take a loan out to pay off, to make new roads and pay off debt. Thank you, taxpayers.
So the DPW's debt financing of streets, sidewalks, and bridges was a part of the 2023 to 2027 capital improvement program, which was before this committee in October of 2023. And I'll let Director Herget speak to that.
Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Chairman Jones, thank you for having us. I believe this proposal is fairly straightforward because it's something that this committee, I know some of you are new, have heard about and talked about.
I want you to pause this for a minute and look at all the money the city will be spending. By the way, just on DPW, just on Department of Public Works within the next couple of years, how much of your taxpayer money is being spent on some of these projects? $10 million on trails.
About the past. So
$10
just
million
very briefly,
funding sources
happy
from
to
trails?
go into it. We've got several members of the team here. If you have questions, once we reach the end of our presentation. Cradle to grave, a transportation infrastructure project takes years to scope, design, bid, build. And so when you look at our capital plan, promises we make and commitments we make to our constituents, to each other, take that long of a life cycle to see to fruition, right? And so as part of that, to cash flow projects, when you have a glut of projects, when you maybe have higher dollar amount projects, we're in a position today where, as has been contemplated now for multiple years and approved last October,
I'm sorry, I'm totally distracted by Larry Vaughn. What does this say? Something about Dick Pride Day.
We're bringing to you the bond authorization to make good on those commitments, to be able to continue to pursue design or get into the field and actually construct the projects that are part of our 5-year capital plan. So what you see here is the slide that was presented. I think it's slide 34 from last year's budget presentation before you. And again, as highlighted specifically in yellow, you can see 2024, $50 million, 2025, $20 million, 2026, $20 million. In order to cash flow the capital plan, we need this cash infusion, again, as has been contemplated.
Look at this. For how much Democrats complain about the gas tax, they're making a pretty penny from it. Look at this, $28 million from the gas tax, $30 million for up until 2027. So every time you hear about Democrats bitching about the gas tax, remember, they actually love it.
Contemplated to be able to fulfill those contracts that we have and those commitments that we've made. So again, we're happy to get into more specifics, but that is the question before you today, is to authorize us to move forward with issuing that debt to make good on that capital plan.
They don't have enough money, is what he's saying, for us to do all these things that we want to do for the capital plan.
So as Director Herget said, we anticipate these bonds to be issued in 3 different series, $50 million this year for 2025 projects, then $20 million in 2025, and the final $20 million in 2026. They'll be used for curb, sidewalk, ADA ramps, bridge, and street rehabilitation, and you can see the useful life of these projects on the screen here. So these bonds will be secured by the Metropolitan Thoroughfare District. However, there won't be any additional tax levied by the district. These will be paid through wheel, excise taxes, and state gas tax distribution.
What happens if I come into office and I work with legislators and I get rid of the gas tax? Anybody ever thought it was like, hey, we can secure all this as long as we get the gas tax, but what happens if we take it away? Because I have a few ways of getting rid of it.
So this will not require an additional tax levy. Utilizing the Metropolitan Thoroughfare District assists with credit rating.
I know I keep pausing it, but I want to make this very clear. Whenever Hogsett and the Democrats talk about, oh, we didn't have to bring in any more taxes, that's because they're taking loans out like a son of a bitch. Like Indianapolis is broke. They don't have enough assets to pay off their debt, so now they're having to do another loan from the bond bank. And if you remember, right after the election last year, the city had to borrow $20 million from the state to start the farmers market rehab.
Allows us to get a better deal on the debt, but the bonds will be repaid by these Indy roads taxes, wheel, excise, and state gas tax distributions.
How long, though? How long is the loan?
We anticipate those revenues providing coverage at least 2.65 times greater than debt service payments. So there's a very secure source of revenue to repay these bonds.
And another note about the gas tax, remember, there are so many liberals out there that want to eliminate cars. So if there's no cars in Indianapolis, how are they going to have a gas tax?
So again, the proposal provides $90 million in new money bonds to be used from 2024 to 2027, $50 million which will be issued this year, up to $12.85 million in refunding bonds for existing Indy Roads debt. The term of the bonds will not exceed 30 years, and the interest rate will not exceed 7%.
30 years. 30 years.
Specifically to the refunding portion. So the authorization is for over $12 million. We anticipate refunding about $8.2 million in bonds of existing Indy Roads debt that was issued in 2015, 2018, and 2019. An additional $5 million will be defeased through a cash payment. And this defeasance of existing debt, it's kind of a wash in terms of direct cash savings, but it will be a huge administrative lift for the city. It eliminates annual trustee fees, continuing disclosure filings, and will reduce audit and legal costs. So here you see proposed debt service. We have overall level debt service through the course of the bonds. Will be paid from existing wheel and excise taxes and state gas tax distributions. 2024, the city anticipates $98.5 million in these distributions. And again, strong debt service coverage, over 2.5 times coverage. So here are historical revenues of the wheel and gas tax distributions. You can see a very steady source of revenue, and we anticipate that to continue through 2024. Here you can see the 2024 distributions represented by the gray bars, and 2023 in blue. So you can see it's a very steady source of revenue. Part of the reason for the increase was the expansion of the city's district, which was passed by the General Assembly, which boosted our annual gas tax revenue distributions. You can see that dip in August of 2023, but generally a very steady revenue source for the city. So credit ratings, each source of revenue generally receives a different credit rating from one or more of the four major credit rating agencies. You can see that our Metro Thoroughfare District bonds have AAA ratings, which are the highest ratings from both Moody's and Fitch. Prior to the city and the bond bank utilizing the Metro Thoroughfare District, they were direct revenue bonds secured directly by the wheel and gas tax. You can see that utilizing the Metro Thoroughfare District allowed us to get an upgrade from Moody's on our Indy Roads bonds, which results in a better deal for Indianapolis taxpayers. You can see some highlights from our most recent ratings. We have expenditure flexibility, very strong financial resilience, a growing tax base, diverse economy. So solid feedback from our credit rating agencies. So this was approved initially by the Board of Public Works last week. Of course, we're before the Council Committee today. We anticipate final approval before the Board of Public Works on May 8th, and anticipate going to the full Council on May 13th. The final step will be going before the Bond Bank Board at our May meeting on May 20th.
I'm wondering if this has anything to do with
the closing the bonds in June of this year. Our financial team is here. We're represented by Sycamore Advisors as our financial advisor, Denton's as our bond counsel, JP Morgan, our senior underwriter, Ramirez, co-managing this transaction, Frostbound Todd, our underwriters counsel, and U.S. Bank as trustee. Happy to answer any questions.
Yes, Counselor.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Executive Director Glass, nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. So I have a question on the refunding portion, and specifically, so what's kind of the main, can you walk us through why, with debt service coverage being so high, why would we choose to refund them instead of taking them to maturity?
So the coverage remains the same because they're being paid by the same sources of revenue. The difference is that now these bonds will be secured by the Metro Thoroughfare District. There'll be a single trustee, so it'll be, everything will be, we'll be treating them as the same kind of bonds, so it'll greatly reduce the administrative burden.
Okay, so it's really just the administrative burden. It doesn't touch the debt service at all.
So no,
But could reduce it, right?
If we weren't, so the bonds would still enjoy the same coverage because they're still.
Hold on, hold on, boys. Hold on, boys and girls. Check this out. Larry Vaughn. Dr. King fucked 2 whores and beat up his side bitch. Dude, Larry Vaughn, I hope you run for mayor again. You got my vote.
So the debt service coverage will remain the same. This just helps us in terms of management.
And the cameraman's trying to pan off of it.
The second question is, like, I assume that the bonds that we're refunding are going to be at a lower rate then as well too.
Right. So it's not a ton of, we're not enjoying a ton of savings. The main, I think it's slightly less, but the main attraction is the administrative costs.
And one more question, Chairman. And given that you run the bond bank, I know you pay attention to interest rates, and obviously,
of course.
And with the announcement that the Fed is going to continue its current course, what is, and this might be related to this, but kind of like, well, how is the bond bank seeing like the potentially future bond issuances in this interest rate environment? with our strong debt service coverage, do you have any comment just kind of based on where the Fed is going or choosing not to go?
I'm sorry, my magic crystal ball is broke. I'm sorry I can't tell the future. Do you think if I could tell the future, I'd be working at a bond bank, you freaking twerp?
With rates and how it relates to kind of the debt health of our city.
Sure. So we, monitor the activity of the Fed, and we anticipated that there would probably not be a cut this round. Potentially could be one by the end of this year. We're not, baking that into any of our assumptions. I think the good news is that they seem to suggest that the next move wouldn't be a hike. I think just the question is how long are they going to hold steady. But the city is, regardless of the actions of the Fed, the city's in strong financial position. We enjoyed a long period of very low interest rates, and
yeah, we did.
They're really not. Unmanageable, and we hope they go down, but we're in solid position regardless.
And the additional $40 million that we would be authorizing today, or sending to the council for authorization in a few more weeks, that provides you with some of the flexibility you would need to, from a cash flow perspective, allows you to realize maybe decreases in the federal funds rate.
Right. Yeah, we'll have we'll have opportunity to time that with how we anticipate the interest rates.
Yeah, we know we need that $50 million really this year. Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, Nielsen. I'm sure you already had these answers, and you're trying to sound like a smart guy and everything. And yeah, the interest rate from the Fed is awful. Gee, I wonder. I just saw an article yesterday that it's the highest in 23 years. And it really is interesting because this is worse than when Barry was in control right now. So I want to bring this in. Hold on. Where is it at? There it is. Look, from 1999 it was at 5%, right? It peaked in May 16th of 2000. And then obviously something happened on September of 2001, and then it completely dropped. And I'll put this link in the description too, so all you can see it. But even in Barry's, it wasn't this bad. It was down to 0.25% in December 18th, 2000. Of course, we had the market crash and everything, so things had to be dropped down. But even look at this. From 15 to 2018, from in 2019, then obviously COVID happened, and then look, it steadily rose up in 2022, and then to where we are from last year. This is July of 2023. Remember, elections matter. Just saying. Printing money out of nowhere really doesn't help. Just saying. Continuing on.
Absolutely. Councilor McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to ask to clarify, back on slide 12, when you were talking about the collections for our gas tax distributions, and there was that drop in August from previous years' presentations. Is that the drop where we pay money to the state? Is that why that's the drop for that year? Thank you. I get a head nod back there. Okay.
Sam is our gas tax.
Perfect. Thank you.
Our revenue manager.
If you could just clarify that, please.
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. So based on the state road funding formula, there's a one-time pull into the state's road funding account that happens in August. So every single August, we're going to see a distribution that's much lower than every other month. So that's normal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Any other comments or questions? Councilor Bain?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you all confirm that the $90 million, that can be spent anywhere throughout the city and county, right? Just whenever sometimes you see district, it may make you think that, the money can only be spent in a particular part of the city. This can be spent anywhere in the city, right?
Yeah, and I think that I know Zach responded to a question that Chairwoman Jones had a little bit earlier this afternoon. When we took this to board, we included actually the project list. So when we seek this authorization, and Joe can correct me if I get this wrong, but we have to name what projects this revenue could go towards. And so there is a long list of those projects. They're all projects that are in the capital plan. but it is not inclusive of the entire capital plan. And so just to drill down a little bit further, because this is debt and what we don't want to do is spend money today that we could have tomorrow and might need tomorrow, we've been very thoughtful about what's included in that list. So it's concrete streets, it's things of that nature where we know
DEI
the
training,
life cycle
scumbag.
of that element that we're buying with this revenue source will far outlast the debt coverage and the term on that revenue source, if that makes sense. So I think these are all 20-year contemplated, and so everything that's on that list we anticipate, and it should be bonded to outlast the life cycle of the maturity of the debt.
Thank you, Director Herget. Any other, Counselor Boots?
Now, I want to know is where I got to find the list then. That's the only way I can figure out because they don't even have a place yet for the soccer stadium. But I got a feeling this is all going to be part of it.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, directors, for your presentation. A couple of quick questions. I just want to be comfortable that what we're doing today contemplates and includes the $25 million going to the residential road program for this year, and that is clearly covered either through some of this bond work or under current budget.
Yes, so the residential program is fully funded. Yes, sir.
Okay, and then second good question, and I slept since this budget was presented last fall. Looking at the, if we could go back just briefly to the page of the chart from page 34 of the slide deck. And this may be beyond the scope of this committee this evening, so if it is, just please tell me. Just looking at the economic development / DMD entries for 23, 24, and 25, it goes from 92 million, 40 million down to 13.5 and then 0 in 26, 27. Can you just briefly explain that?
Yeah, so those revenue sources, and Lauren, I'd ask you to step in if I get something wrong or need to supplement. But those revenue sources are going to be driven by MDC resolutions and are largely, if not all, going to be backed by TIF dollars. And so when the city of Indianapolis, I'm thinking Chairman Jones about
that's not good.
Renovation District, right? When the city of Indianapolis makes a commitment for an economic development deal that then DPW has to execute infrastructure to support, DPW receives those funds because we contract out that work, right? We hire a design firm, we hire a contractor, et cetera. And so that is a line item of money that's going from the MDC and from that process to DPW to manage and pay out for services. And that's what that alludes to. And so I think the reason you see such a large number in 23 was because there's such a large number of projects in that economic development pipeline. And that's why it then also trickles off, is because those aren't contemplated yet. But I think once you see us introduce a 5-year capital plan later this year alongside the budget, as has grown, sort of our custom, those numbers will change because those anticipated economic development projects will have changed, if that makes sense.
So if we're here again at the same point next year, that chart will keep populating the future years with similar amounts.
Yes, sir.
As projects come to fruition.
Yes, sir. Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Remember, TIF funding only works. These TIF projects, they only work if they produce money. There are TIF projects that have made zero money, less money actually, and it takes years for it to even seem like anything's going to happen because of the incremental financing of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments or questions?
It's
from
a giant
counselors?
scam. Is what basically
Okay,
all
as we move
TIFs
on to the
are a giant
public
scam.
input section, we'll have a statement from our clerk.
It's a gamble and by taxpayers.
As we move to the public comment portion of the debate for this proposal,
Oh, here we go.
we would like to remind committee members and the public of a few
I know
ground
you're going to
rules.
speak up.
In order for
All right,
everyone to
Vaughn,
have
let's
a fair
go.
chance to speak and be heard, it is important that we each observe the following ground rules. First, each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Second, any public comments must reasonably relate to the agenda item under consideration. Third, speakers who stray from the item under consideration or become unduly repetitious may be asked to move on to the next point or conclude their comments. Finally, attendees who cause disruptions that prevent the council from proceeding through today's agenda in a reasonably efficient manner will be removed. Please remember that
This is
some
all
types
because
of
of Larry.
threatening speech or incitement to violence
My man.
aren't protected by the First Amendment at all. We will deal with those issues if they come up, but we don't think they will. And now, Madam Chair, if a member asks for consent to adopt these rules, we can proceed to the public comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Anyone in the public who wishes to speak on Proposal 91?
Larry Vaughn, please.
Yes.
You know, Madam Chairman, we've already approved $1 billion for infrastructure and so forth. The mayor said it, the council approved it, I was here tonight that they done that. Is this bond issue over and above that amount that is actually going to be spent on residential and so forth in our city that's in desperate need of it? Or will this be spent on the infrastructure for the new soccer stadium? I understand that they need $200 million in the kitty to get this team to come here so that they can say that they'll fit in all the infrastructure, sidewalks, and even help them build a stadium. So I just want to know, these bonds, there has been no revenue source specified for them tonight that I've heard of that's credible. And also, you can look at the Financial Times Daily today and find that the city of Indianapolis does not have a AAA bond rating, and they are paying 10% for their money. So I just wonder, since it's going inside at the same time, the new stadium coming, and this committee meeting here tonight appropriating $90 million in bond debt at 10% with unlimited. He said refurbishing or whatever the statement was. It was the incorrect terminology. He should have said that they can replenish these bonds. That means that any time the principal is spent down, they can come back before this council and get a replenishment of $13 million. So I just wonder, have we considered that? And have we considered that the path we're going down here right now to fund these projects, that there's no revenue to service the bonds, and that if the bonds do get accelerated and demand is made, that the citizens will have to make the difference up in these bonds. So I just hope this council would consider that in appropriating this $90 million bond issue for what I feel like is infrastructure for the new soccer stadium.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Anyone else from the public that would like to make a comment or have any input? Any final questions or comments from our counselors?
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry. Yes, Councilor Bain. Councilor Carlino.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to request to be a co-sponsor on this proposal.
Why?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bain.
Director Herget, can you confirm that there is already a list of projects that this money is going to, and a soccer stadium is not one of them?
Yes, sir, I can confirm that.
Thank you.
But it could change. Are they committed to it? I don't know. Listen, this is the government. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Thank you, Director.
Bonds or no bonds.
Chairwoman Jones, I moved to send proposal 91, 2024 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to send Proposal 91 to the full council with the due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Moving on, with consent, I would like to hear Proposals 92 through the presentation for Proposals 92 through 98 together.
Consent.
Thank you. Welcome, Nathan.
Good evening, Nathan Sheets, Department of Public Works, and I've got a number of traffic proposals before you this evening, 7 in fact, and these are very similar to things you've seen previously. The majority of these are in fact speed limit reductions, and then we've got a change in parking restrictions for the proposal number 98, 2024. So beginning with proposal number 92, 2024, this authorizes a speed limit reduction at 25 miles per hour within the Pensy Trail and Arlington Avenue area. That is District 14. Proposal number 93, 2024 authorizes speed limit reductions to 25 miles an hour on Wellesley Boulevard from 16th Street to 21st Street. That's District 14 as well. Proposal number 94, 2024 authorizes speed limit reductions to 35 miles per hour on Guyan Road from 38th Street to 52nd Street. That's District 6. Proposal number 95, 2024, authorizes speed limit reductions to 30 miles an hour on Central Avenue from Fall Creek Parkway North Drive to 10th Street. That falls within districts 13, 12, and 8.
This is about like
Proposal
traffic
number 96,
stuff.
2024, authorizes
Speed limits
speed
mean
limit
nothing.
reductions to 25 miles per hour in the Arden re-subdivision and along Arden Drive from Meridian Street to College Avenue, District 2. Proposal number 97, 2024, authorizes speed limit reductions to 25 miles per hour on Kerwood Drive from 91st Street to its termination, that is District 2. And proposal number 98, 2024, authorizes a change in parking restrictions along Maryland Street from Pennsylvania Street to Delaware Street, that is District 18. And as mentioned, if you have questions, you guys should have gotten we typically send out a packet, has a map, shows you where all these various changes are, and a brief kind of digest on what these changes entail as well. So if you have questions about those, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Any questions or comments on proposals 92 through, bless you, 98? Yes, Councilor Boots.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a brief question. I know in the neighborhoods, it's pretty routine to go down to 25 miles an hour. What's the process for a larger thoroughfare like Guyan Road, or I get a lot of concerns about some of the Allisonville and 71st Street.
Sure.
What's the process for doing that?
Yep.
There's more involved, I'm sure.
Yes, there is. So again, there's a state statute that basically indicates that the speed limit on a roadway is 30 miles an hour unless otherwise posted. And so a good example of proposal number 95, in fact, if you look specifically at that ordinance, we were deleting references to a speed limit. So if that speed limit isn't in the that section of code, the de facto speed limit's already 30 miles an hour. We're able to justify these reductions in neighborhoods. If we do get requests for roadways that tend to be more thoroughfare in nature or primary collectors, we would like to do a true speed study. So we would go out there, shoot radar. There's a number of other ways that we can collect speed data to determine how fast people are actually traveling in the area and whether or not we would be supportive of a reduction. Really, the last thing we want to do, particularly on some of these larger thoroughfares, is to create a situation where we've arbitrarily lowered a speed limit but haven't done anything else, haven't done any geometric changes, haven't done anything from a design perspective, because then what we're essentially doing is lowering a speed limit. We don't see a true reduction in the speeds at which people are traveling, so you actually increase the amount of people that are traveling in excess of that speed limit, which can put a burden on IMPD to do enforcement. So if you've got specific locations within your council district, and that goes for any counselors, that you'd like us to take a look at, we can definitely look at that.
Sure.
I was just going to supplement that to say, I think we have heard loud and clear from all of you and from the community a desire to think creatively, to think outside the box, and to sort of help our partners at IMPD because of the challenges Nathan just described. And so I think next month, as we begin a conversation with the council about a fiscal package with the spring supplemental distribution, having worked with Chairman Jones, Councilor Nielsen, a handful of other councilors about some priorities related to safety, I think we're going to bring something to you that hopefully is exciting, that includes an opportunity to maybe invest in some more technology that can help us collect that data, let data drive decisions, and then be more nimble and act more quickly. So just wanted to sort of supplement that and kind of tease some of the things that we've...
What they're implying are speed cameras, so they can get your license plate and then send you a ticket. Go and look up some information on that. I dare you to, because you're going to find of how racist it is. Just saying.
We've been talking about here recently, so...
Absolutely. Thank you, Director.
If I may just follow up on, is there a set formula for, like there, as I understand, for speed bumps, for example, if you do a speed study and there's got to be roughly 15% above the stated, is there a formula like that, or do you just, is it more of a subjective analysis?
As far as modifications, speed limits or speed humps in general?
Speed limits.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there is guidance that's provided, I think, and that guidance has kind of historically been, you should set speed limits on what the 85th percentile speed is. I think there's a change in thinking and on our end from an engineering perspective, and when we do get these requests, we physically want to make modifications in order for those speed limit reductions to actually occur. Because at the end of the day, that's what everyone wants. They want to see a lower speed limit, not just a sign that is ignored.
There's no enforcement on it, though, dummy.
That 85th percentile tends to be what is looked at initially, but here, my staff, there are other things that we look at from a land use perspective and surrounding properties and characteristics of the individual roadway itself.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from counselors? Anyone from the public wish to speak on proposals 92 through 98?
Yes, ma'am, Mr. Chairman. I have been noticing a lot of our thoroughfares in this city that were built with the pursuit of commerce, so that we could conduct our commerce as businessmen and enjoy the amenities that this city provided for us, right? That's unobstructed thoroughfares. Look at 21st Street. Look at downtown. Look at Michigan Street that's going out to both ways through town, how they've obstructed that. Now, I was wondering why they're doing this, but I guess it's to comply with some contract of a grant that the city has received. But I think that the thoroughfares are made to conduct commerce.
Yeah.
And if we deprive our new business people in this town of the same amenities that maybe some of you haven't been in business for a long time have enjoyed, and tell us that we can't go down this street and you can't go to make your deliveries. You're limited on the speed limit on a thoroughfare that is being used like Allisonville Road or even Guyan Road that have been used to conduct commerce for many years. You're restricting business and hurting small business, especially when you do these things in this council. So you people at home, look at what's happening. They're getting grants from I don't know where, federal government probably, and then they're enforcing these rules on us to restrict our thoroughfares, to tell us that we can't go certain places at certain times, and it's just a death knell for the business here in this city. The businesses that are trying to start up with the same amenities that you enjoyed when you actually built your business.
He's 100% correct, and I've seen it personally on Michigan. Going towards downtown, it used to be 2 lanes, now it's 1 lane. And now what they're wanting to do is piss everybody off and clog up traffic. But it doesn't actually help in the long run, because then who's going to want to live in that area when you can't even travel easily? You're going to have to rely on public transportation. Really? You're going to have to trust that some crackhead isn't going to light the bus on fire while you're in it? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. Any more questions or concerns from Councilor McCormick?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I just have a comment. I think we should treat counselors with respect, and we have chairwoman at the lead of this committee, not a chairman. Thank you.
What?
Counselor.
Why don't you take your sunglasses off if you care so much about it?
With consent,
oh my God!
I would like to vote
let's show
on
some
proposals
respect while I
92
have
through
my
97
sunglasses
as a
on
block.
my head the entire time. Yeah, you're so professional,
Madam
Fiona.
Chairwoman, I move that proposals 92 through 97, 2024, be sent to the full council in block with the due pass recommendation.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to send proposals 92 through 97 to the full council with the due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Moving on to proposal 98, Chairman McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I move that we send proposal number 98, 2024 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 98 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. It has been with, thank you so much. We'll move on to Proposal 99. For our, with consent, I would like to take Proposal 99 through 108 for all our Bluff Road presentations for consent. For Councilor Onay's Bluff Road projects, which I know he's very, Councilor Onay's listening for, I know he's very excited for this. So.
Yeah. So I'm presenting those. I lost an arm wrestling match, and so I thought I'd mix this up a little bit. So
Okay.
We'll start with proposal number 99. Just beforehand, these proposals basically give the department the authority to purchase property related to the specific project. The project itself is primarily a drainage project, but there's going to be some safety improvements associated with the project as well. Statutorily, I think, I know that we are required to get approval from City County Council in order to purchase those properties necessary as part of the project. And so these 10 proposals fall under that category, and so that's why we're here before you this afternoon. So proposal number 99, 2024, approves the request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by Vidwell LLC. Proposal number 100, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by La Estrella Event Center LLC. Proposal number 101, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by Kitsap Property Group LLC. Proposal number 102, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project. Which
I was here during they brought that in from the full council. We were all laughing. It's like, dude, how many of these houses are you buying?
Approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project.
You know what's crazy? There's no work being done right now on Bluff Road. It's all on county line.
Proposal number 104, 2024.
Like the whole thing's a giant scam.
The Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by John D. and Angela S. Davis.
Jeez.
Proposal number 105, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by Douglas K. and Donna J. Horton. Proposal number 106, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by Oliver J. Clothier. Proposal number 107, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by Dave and Sons Property LLC. And finally, proposal number 108, 2024, approves a request of the Department of Public Works to purchase certain real estate interests for the Bluff Road reconstruction project, which property is owned by South Bluff LLC. And we've got Brian Kavanaugh, our chief legal counsel here, and John Bowen, our chief engineer, in case you guys have specific questions about those 10 proposals. But I'm sure between the three of us, we can answer any questions you may have.
All right. Any questions or concerns from councilors? Councilor Gibson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I assume all of these owners want to sell, correct?
Yeah, I can speak to that. From my contacts with the acquisition team, that is generally correct. These are all receptive sellers.
So if they don't want to sell, what would happen then?
It probably would depend on how critical the parcel is, and we would potentially go to condemnation.
Okay. And you got a negotiation range, or you use real estate values? How do you negotiate the property?
Yeah, so we appoint appraisers, and then we aggregate those appraisers, and then there is negotiating room. Yeah.
Thank
you.
What was the point of that? You know how the thing works.
Proposal 100. All right.
Madam Chair, I would move proposals number 99 through 108 with a due pass recommendation to the full council.
Second. I'm so sorry. We have to vote on them individually. I'm so sorry.
Oh
Sorry.
my goodness.
Sorry.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Excited. I'm so sorry. You had
All right.
He was very excited.
Madam Chair, I move proposal number 99 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 99 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Oh my God,
Opposed,
it's
say
going to
nay.
take forever.
The ayes have it. We'll move forward now to proposal 100.
Madam Chair, I move proposal number 100 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
All those in favor say aye. Oh, sorry. Second. I got so excited. We're so excited.
You're doing good.
We're excited. Okay, we got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move forward with proposal number 101.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we send proposal 101 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 101 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move forward with proposal 102.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we send proposal 102 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 102 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move forward with proposal 103.
Madam Chair, I move that we send proposal number 103 to the full council for a final adoption.
Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 103 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move forward with proposal 104.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we move proposal 104, 2024 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 104 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. We'll move forward with proposal 105.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we send proposal 105 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 105 to the full council with the due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Moving forward to proposal 106.
Madam Chair, I move to send proposal number 106, 2024 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
It's been
Second.
I'm so excited. It's been moved and seconded to send proposal 106 to the full council with the due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Moving forward to proposal 107.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that proposal 107, 2024 be sent to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 107 to the full council with the due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Moving forward for our last proposal for the evening before our
I had
presentation.
to check out
proposal
there for a
108.
second.
Madam Chair, I'd move that we send proposal number 108, 2024 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second?
Second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to send proposal 108 to the full council with a due pass recommendation. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much for your patience for this evening. And now we have Keep Indianapolis Beautiful for a council update.
Madam Chair, can I have a point of order?
Absolutely.
Council, technically, I should have recused myself from voting on 91.
We have to start over.
Since we're still live meeting, can I still do that? So let the record show I have recused myself for voting on proposal 91, please. Thank you.
What happens when you work for a false law firm, man?
That's right.
For a false law firm.
We were. I even forgot.
It just shows, though, that's funny, though. He had to recuse himself because he works for a law firm that's involved with the $90 million worth of bonds. It really just show you, like, the handshakes and hand jobs of government.
It's been a while.
Should I go ahead and plug in?
Yes, please. I didn't know that.
Oh, God. So sorry.
Whispering. What are they whispering about?
Down here?
Yes, right on the tube, right, yeah, so I shared my papers.
Everybody's on their phone.
Down here?
Gibson's on the phone. Main's on his phone.
I didn't even mention it.
God, I'm so ready for the primary to be over.
So much for your patience. Okay. Wonderful.
I'm so ready for this primary to be over.
That is not what I...
It's last week and a half.
That's not it either.
35 past 9 days.
I had like 8 just today. Well, I'm getting sick and tired of text messages. Those are like the worst idea ever.
This is the one I got from like young.
Maybe it's because it's broadcasting. Okay.
All right.
Okay, well, I figured out the tech support.
Y'all good? I think so. Well, welcome. Thank you very much for being here with us tonight. I know Keep Indianapolis Beautiful does amazing work in all of our districts, so we're honored that you're here with us, and take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to the council for taking time. I see from Councilor Mowry's shirt that I'm standing between all of you and a basket. Councilor Booth, thank you. So I do know that I'm standing between the council and other events this evening. But did want to thank the council for taking the time to hear from us this evening. There are, since the election, there are some new members to the council, which we wanted to welcome and recognize. There are some new members to this committee, and there's just a lot of new things that are happening with Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, and so we wanted to take this opportunity to give the council an update.
Listen, about KIB, they are really good at marketing overall, but they do put out some bullshit, and depending if they talk about it, I will talk about it at the end.
And
Is it going to do the thing? Oh. You all are challenging me with
Technology, huh? That's a son of a bitch.
It's not forwarding.
That's nice.
We know how to plant trees, but technology, not so much.
All right.
Well.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
I was like, we can follow along.
All right. Success.
Success. So for those who may be less familiar, Keep Indianapolis Beautiful is a, actually I should just pause for a moment for those who don't know. I'm Jeremy Kranowitz. I'm the president and CEO of Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. I'm joined by my colleague Summer Cowan, who directs our Clean Neighborhoods program, and the two of us will be sharing a few pieces of information with you. Keep Indianapolis Beautiful is almost 50 years old. We started with Mayor Hudnut in the 70s, who had the iconic big white wide leather belt that he put on when he was making hook shots of litter, trying to encourage Hoosiers to put litter in its place.
Isn't it kind of funny how Democrat cities are so freaking dirty? Weird, right?
We originally started within city government and then spun off to be an independent 501c3. And in '97, We formally changed our name to Keep Indianapolis Beautiful to register that we were part of a larger national network of Keep America Beautiful. Today, there are over 700 affiliates of Keep America Beautiful, and Keep Indianapolis Beautiful is the largest one in the entire nation. We have quite a number of different programs. We'll be spending just a couple of minutes on each one, but what I wanted to make sure that we convey is that Keep Indianapolis Beautiful receives funding from a variety of different sources. We have federal and state funding, we have philanthropic funding, we have funding from corporations and from individuals, and we receive funding from the City of Indianapolis funded through the Department of Public Works. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Summer to just share a couple of specifics about the litter and cleaning program specifically.
Thank you. As Jerry mentioned, my name is Summer Cowan. I'm the Director of Clean Neighborhoods at Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. And I'm going to talk about two of our programs that have been supported by the City of Indianapolis for quite a while, and then I'll touch just really briefly on some other programs that we have incorporated as well. But Adopt-A-Block is probably our oldest program. We are now in our 24th year of doing Adopt-A-Block. And this is the program where we provide free supplies to community members across Indianapolis. And that includes litter grabbers, gloves, trash bags, other tools they might need to clean out storm drains like shovels, scoops, all kinds of that kind of thing. We also give them an Adopt-A-Block Captain t-shirt so they can let everyone know that they're out helping us out. So this is supported by the City of Indianapolis. Captains sign up for a 2-year period to take care of any block of their choice. That can be the block where they live, where they go to school, where they work, just a place that they care about. And they commit to helping remove litter from that area all year round. And we have a lot of great participation in that program. When I first started at
Depends
KIB,
where. It really depends
coming out of
where.
the pandemic, so attendance had dipped just a little bit, and we were at a little over 600. Now we're at over 1,000, and that is because we just went through a renewal cycle, and we make sure that we touch base with everyone and say, are you still cleaning up, or have you moved, that kind of thing. So that number is going to continue to increase over the next 2 years as well.
We'll see.
And they are all over the city. If you go to our website, we have a map where you can put in an address and see if there are any Adopt-A-Block captains in your neighborhood, down to the block, see if yours is available. Some of you might be Adopt-A-Block captains. If you are, thank you. I know Jeremy and I are both captains, although I guess we have to be. But there are also other fun perks of the program. We do a native tree and plant distribution to our Adopt-A-Block captains in the fall for free. There is a small grant program that they can apply for community projects if they can get 3 or more Adopt-A-Block captains together. And we also do social events and educational events that they are welcome to come to. So if you are out in your community talking to folks about litter in the area, and they might want to sign up. Again, it is totally free to sign up. You can go to our website, which is kibi.org, put in your application. It takes us a few days, and then we send all of the information that folks need, and they can come pick up free supplies. We've also started taking our supplies out to farmers markets and other places, so if folks can't get to us, maybe we can get to them to get them their supplies. And then our other key litter program that we have been doing for a long time with the city with a lot of amazing support from DPW is the Great Indy Cleanup. We call them GICs for short, so if you see GIC, that's what that means. But we have two components under that. One is a community-based program where anyone throughout the city of Indianapolis, except for like the excluded areas, like Beech Grove, Southport, things like that, because of the tax base, they can reach out to us and request free supplies. We'll provide trash bags, gloves, we'll lend out litter grabbers, reflective vests all year round, and then DPW between April and October can provide a free dumpster or potentially even a garbage compactor truck on Saturdays.
This is all fake and kind of lame, honestly, because I contacted KIB and I think maybe DPW, I think it was KIB, but I had a question about that, okay, because people around me, they don't give a damn about the trash, the litter, the garbage. I'm constantly cleaning up my front yard from all the illegals on my street that refuse to clean up after themselves because they would rather bring their third world customs into this country. And I asked them, it's like, well, what happens if I clean up all this garbage but I'm the only one doing it, and I have like 15 bags of garbage. And it's like, can I get that picked up, or is it on me? And they told me that it's on me. So you have to like have a group of people and tell them about it, then they'll help you. But if you're an individual that just wants to clean up when you want to clean up, then you're pretty much on your own. And this actually happened to me last year. I cleaned up Rockville Road, and I had about 25 bags of garbage, and I had to wait until I was going to do a major project in the on my house where I can rent out a dumpster. And then that was my chance to throw everything. But for months, I had 25 bags of garbage in my front. Well, it was in my driveway, but it was big time in my way. But I had to wait until I knew I was going to be getting a dumpster. So just to let you know, they care, but they only care so much.
They are limited in the capacity, as you all know. There are only so many drivers and so many trucks available, and lots of other garbage to pick up, but they support us wonderfully. In April, they provided double the normal resources. So normally we have 5 dumpsters and 1 garbage truck on the weekends, but they doubled that for April because it is Earth Month, and also everyone is really excited to get out and clean after the winter. So we truly appreciate that support from them. As the slides show you, we did 334 of those last year. Our city contract goal is 250, and the demand just keeps increasing. And then in addition to that, we also help coordinate for larger cleanups throughout the year. Communities can apply for those, and we try to go out to as many community meetings as possible to let people know that that program exists, where we can help get more volunteers. We try to get 50 or more volunteers for those. We can sometimes bring in additional resources to those as well. So as you're talking to your constituents, please let them know that both of those programs exist. I know Councilor Boots, we saw you at the Binford cleanup last year, so thank you for coming to that.
Of course. Yeah.
And so in addition to our ones that are supported by the city, we were lucky to get a grant from the Lilly Endowment that allowed us to expand our litter programs for a 3-year period. So it goes through next year, where we can increase our emphasis on busy roads where the average resident may not feel comfortable cleaning up or it might not be safe for them to do so, as well as doing more focus on waterways. So we now have an excellent partnership with Keys to Work, and there are 2 crews that go out Monday through Friday and often on Saturdays as well on some of the city's busy streets. And the way we chose those streets is we used information from the Mayor's Action Center about where people were making reports, and then looked at which of those were along busy streets. And then at the beginning of this year, after having a year's practice on all of those, we were able to use firsthand knowledge of which ones were pretty clean and didn't need our attention, or other ones that needed a little more. So we've adjusted those. We have 22 segments, which you can kind of see up there, but I'm also happy later to provide more information about that. But we've removed over 70,000 pounds of litter last year, and it continues to increase as well.
This might be tips.
And also, the crew is incredible to work with. They've been great ambassadors for our programs as they've been out talking to people. They've been getting people to adopt their blocks, and they also help us out sometimes with other projects as well. And for the waterway component, we know that waterways unfortunately collect a lot of litter, not just along the White River, but all of the tributaries. So we have been working closely with the committees of Reconnecting to Our Waterway, Friends of the White River Alliance, and then just communities that exist all along those waterways to do quite a few cleanups along the waterways.
Yeah, I know, because I've been cleaning up Lynn Creek, which is right behind me, for the last 2 years, and I really don't expect DPW or KIB to help me haul out the 2 water heaters that are back there. I'm probably going to have to cut them up, fish all the garbage that's out of them, and then clean them up myself, because don't expect the government to help you.
So I know there are a lot of Southsider councilors here on this committee, and you can see that the tracks that the Keys to Work crews are working on are currently mostly not on the south side. As my colleague Summer said, we're responding to those MAC complaints, and so trying
Mayor's Action Center.
Really highlight the areas that have the highest degree of complaints. It has been fascinating. It took the crews how many months to go from 38th Street end to end?
Yeah, it took several months the first time we did 38th Street, because it had been collecting litter for such a long time, and it goes from end to end of the county.
Oh, that was 38th Street.
So Counselors, in addition to the work that we do on litter removal, again, that goes all the way back to Mayor Hudnut, and we haven't quite stopped people from littering yet. We're getting closer. I'm sure any day now people will just stop that practice entirely. But until then, the work continues. The other thing that I want to convey with these next few slides is other work that Keep Indianapolis Beautiful is doing around the city. That also is work that needs to continue to maintain a certain level of environmental cleanliness and ecosystem health. So one of those is habitat restoration. This is primarily along the major waterways and tributaries throughout the city, but there are lots of invasive plants, including things like Asian honeysuckle, which, if left untouched, grow completely out of control to the size of large trees. They outcompete native plants and create ecological harm, and so there is a continual battle to try to make sure that we are replacing those with species of plants that are native to this part of the country, and to continue those efforts again wherever we find the opportunity to make those changes. One of the programs that I'm particularly proud of is our green space program. We are taking formerly vacant or abandoned lots. We are working with community members to transform those into vibrant community green spaces. I've got two pictures here, which, believe it or not, are from the exact same site. This is a site just west of Holt Rd. It was an abandoned RV park that eventually was razed, and then we worked with community members to build a park that they were interested in. It now has a shelter, picnic tables, a pollinator garden. It has an installed art piece from a local artist. It has a pathway that is ADA compliant for people to ride scooters or wheelchairs, or for those that are
probably more scooters,
otherwise have mobility issues. There are residents that have said that they were literally afraid to leave their homes because that neighborhood was so violent previously, and now their children can be seen playing in that space.
You know, it's kind of crazy what happens when you get rid of all the garbage, whether it's physical garbage or people garbage. What the shit? What the hell just happened?
We have opportunities like this to create spaces like this throughout the city. So here's where it gets great.
They are talking about it
from the Centers for Disease Control.
Oh,
and
no.
have, as a result of that, been able to do some research with the University of Michigan and their School of Public Health. I've already had my wrist slapped for partnering with a university that is outside of the state of Indiana. Nonetheless, they looked at 34 of the green spaces that we've created in recent years and compared that to 34 comparable vacant lots that had not been treated, and found a statistically significant 12% reduction in gun violence that can be felt within a half-mile radius of that property once KIB has engaged community to better engage with those spaces. So what I would love from the council is to help us identify communities, neighborhoods, places where you would like to see transformations like this. We are not in the practice and do not want to go to a community and say, you know what you all need is one of these. We want the requests to come up from community members, from neighbors, so that we can go in and create what they want and what they ask for.
Okay, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to show you what he's talking about, and I'm about to completely destroy him on this thing. You ready? Are you ready? All right, just a little backstory. This was going to be my original video that I was going to talk about when I first started this YouTube channel, because this whole thing started back in like October, like end of September, beginning of October, when this thing came out, and I was kind of arguing with someone about it. And so I emailed KIB if I could find out where the study was, like where's the information, which ones are the locations they were using. Like what factors were they using to figure out this data? So finally, I think it took like maybe it was a few weeks, but yeah, I was right. It was 36, not 34. So this was what I got back. The study analysis plain English version. I'll have this linked at the bottom so you can read it for yourselves. Factors such as median household income, age, access to transportation, non-white population, and other social vulnerability factors were considered. So they were saying that the assaults with a firearm, so that is what they're calling a gun crime. Any kind of crime involved with a gun, whether it's assault, a shooting, they just had the gun on them. That is what they were considering, and they were looking at as a half-a-mile radius from locations where a KIB worked with communities to create a green space. And there is a 12% reduction. The confidence interval is from 6 to 20%. So they were using the average, which means a minimum. That means that at a minimum, KIB green spaces reduce the incidence of an assault with a gun by 6% and perhaps as much as 20%. This accounts for differences in demographics and accounts for the citywide rise in gun violence. Here's the part that they don't talk about. Interestingly, there was not a significant reduction when looking at all crimes. I think that's the key thing. So what you're saying is if I have a garden, within a half a mile of that garden, you shouldn't have any gun crimes, or there will be anywhere from a 6 to a 20% reduction in gun crimes because I have a little bed of sunflowers over there, right? That's what you're saying. So I asked them, well, what were the locations that they were using? So I emailed them, and these were, yeah, okay, you can't see who it was from. You know what? I'm just going to post all of these, unless you want to pause it. Let's see how far down. Yeah, unless you want to pause it, but I'm going to have all these locations. It says here, this is where the part. It says list of 34 green spaces, but then on here it says 36. I don't know. I don't really care. The fun part is that I looked a couple of these addresses up. So 508 Dorman Street. All right, looking around. Oh, that's your green space? This is your green space? That's what you're... Oh, so within a half a mile of here, you've had a 6 to 12% reduction in gun crimes. Any crime involved with a gun. Let's go to 200 East Fall Creek Parkway, South Drive. All right. So where's it at? I have no idea. I'm guessing they're probably talking somewhere over here because there's a path right under here. So I'm guessing at this one location on this pathway within a half a mile that there's a reduction in gun crime. Very, very interesting. Here we go. 201 South. That's what one of them was, right? 201 Shelby. Yeah, South Shelby. Where's the green space, huh? Are they talking about this? Are they talking about this large amount of grass? Oh, maybe they talk about the Oh no, okay, it's not the Mayflower. So weird. Here, we'll do another one. We'll do 2830 South Holt Road. We'll do this in live. All right. All right. Oh. I don't know why it shows up McClure Street. That's kind of weird. But when you type it in, that's where it's at. What is it? It's a community caring and sharing center. It's weird, right? It's kind of weird. I mean, go ahead and look all these other ones up if you want to. But I thought it was like, well, what are you considering a green space? Because I had this conversation with KIB before, and like some kind of event. And I was like, well, how do you even become a green space? Well, you have to talk to them first, and then they have to have an architect go out there and say, well, we need these things to make sure that you are certified in a KIB area to be a green space. The whole thing is a giant scam. I personally think they do good things though. I will admit, like there was a big tree planting thing over on the west side not long ago, and their community engagement is outstanding. I will give them a lot of props for that. Their marketing is unbelievable, and talking to people on if they want a tree, how the tree works, them interacting with constituents or going to neighborhood meetings is really well done. But some of this stuff is super fake and lame. Go ahead and read through it. And this was just a point by KIB to be like, hey, look how great we're doing. Give us more money. And this was going to be the very first video that I was going to put out. And then, here we are. 7 months later now from this whole thing, and now I'm bringing it back up. I was never going to talk about it because it was never brought up, but sometimes things get brought up and you got to talk about them. Moving on.
The next thing that folks may know is that Keep Indianapolis Beautiful, as part of our contract with the city, plants 1,500 trees per year. We actually plant about 3,500 trees with the addition of other contracts that we receive. We are focusing the places where we are planting, particularly in parts of the city that have a lower tree canopy than others. So no offense to those in Eagle Creek and Geist, but you have more trees than other places. So we're planting fewer trees.
And we're all about equity
up
here,
north
right?
And more across the middle and southern parts of the city.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is, though? Is it because of development? So they're ripping all these trees up so they can put housing or apartments or condominiums?
Thing that I want to let folks know is that we are planting trees in public right-of-way. We are always making sure that we are planting the right tree in the right place, so we are mindful of where utilities are, we are mindful of where existing infrastructure, including sidewalks, are. So we are not planting in a way that will create any damage to existing infrastructure. And we maintain those trees for 3 years after we plant them, after which time we turn them over to the city. But that ensures that they have a 90% survival rate. The average for an urban tree is about 70%, so we're about 20% above the national average for tree survivability. What that meant, though, is that we had to do over 300,000 visits to trees because there wasn't a lot of rain last year consistently, and had to spend about 4 million gallons of water on those trees. So that work continues. My colleagues at Keep Phoenix Beautiful said, we'd love to plant trees, but it's 120 degrees here and we have no water. So we have some advantages here, but even in Indy, we have a lot of water that we need to spend. And what I really want to say is that we have very new data from University of Vermont. Again, my apologies that it was not IU, but they have just...
That's because they're too busy bitching about Palestine.
...done a new updated map of tree canopy of Marion County, and over the last 10 years, it appears that our tree canopy has gone down. We have gone down from about 33% to 29%. So,
and why is that?
Despite all of the work that we've been doing, planting trees throughout the city, we are still seeing a slow decline. And so that work really must continue if we want to keep a healthy tree canopy in the city.
The other reason why, and nobody ever seems to talk about it, I had some people around me that cut down their trees. And the reason why is because their sidewalk is all jacked up because the roots has lifted them up or sunk them down. And then the city told them that you have to cut the tree down. So they got the tree cut down, and they're like, okay, now you got to get the stump down. Okay, so what happens if I get the stump down? Are you guys going to come over here and fix the sidewalk or what? It's like, well, that has to be brought up planning, but the tree's your problem. And that's the first step that has to be done. We can't even start the planning. So when you talk about there's a tree canopy problem, it's because a lot of these people, well, first off, they're old. They don't want to clean out their gutters full of leaves. and branches, and 2, they want their infrastructure, their sidewalks fixed up and maintained that the trees have destroyed.
One of the things that the mayor and council have long been in favor of is that we have programs with youth. So we have a summer program called the Youth Tree Team that hires high school-aged students to learn about urban ecology and how to take care of the trees that we've been planting, among other things. We also put them on our payroll. So for a lot of these students, it may be the first time that they've received a paycheck. We work with PNC to give them financial literacy because we're not giving them cash. We are paying them with a paycheck, and then they get a debit card and learn how to use that. So there is.
Wait a minute. They get a debit card like an EBT card? Is that what it's like?
That they learn in addition to learning about different types of jobs that they might not have had exposure to.
Check this out. This kid is wearing a mask outside. He can't be saved. He's not going to make it.
We can tell kids, do you know that there's a job called an arborist where you can climb trees for a living? And many kids are really excited about that.
They also have like an 80% death rate.
That program is really
just
great.
kidding.
It is for students across
I don't know if
the
that's
city.
true.
We also have a program called the Urban Naturalist Program, which is for college-age students. We are, in that case, mostly getting students from schools like IUI, from Butler, from area Indiana schools, including DePaul and IU Bloomington and so forth, and Purdue. But those students are doing higher level ecology work. We actually just had some conversations with the Indiana Department of Natural Resources and the Department of Environmental Management. They are looking at issues where a lot of their current employees are at or nearing retirement age, and they're looking for a pipeline of new talent. And we've been able to talk to them to say this program with these college-age students is a potential pipeline of talent, and they are supporting us for that very reason, that they see that this is a way to keep talent in the state. So in conclusion, just wanted to let folks know that this work is making the city cleaner and greener and safer. I think the safety issue is something that is not necessarily intuitive, but we are finding that the research is proving out that when we're making these changes, it comes with safety improvements in neighborhoods as well. We are able to use, I think, the largest volunteer force in the entire city. So when we are able to do work, including planting trees, and mobilize thousands of volunteers to do that, it is one of the most economically efficient ways of getting that work done. Were the city to try to hire its own staff to try to accomplish all the work that KIB is able to accomplish, it would be far more expensive and would not be able to do as much as we're able to do with volunteer labor. And the last thing is that we would like to be of service to you. So if you have constituents that are particularly anxious or noisy about particular issues, whether that is litter or whether that is about a lack of trees or whether that is about a lack of access to green space, we would like to help you turn them into advocates so that they can come to us and we can work to make improvements in each of your districts. We need to have that kind of input from constituents, and so as you are doing retail politics and meeting with constituents and hear these types of complaints, we would like to turn that around and be helpful providers of solutions to all of you. So thank you for your time and patience. I'm happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you very much for that amazing presentation. Councilor McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. And I won't slap your hand again. I don't know who slapped it, but kudos to them, I guess. But thank you so much.
You know what? If IU were more busy, or they cared more about getting data out there instead of worrying about what other countries are doing, maybe we would have used them.
Like, you know that I love the work that you do. I have just a couple questions. So one, for the Adopt-A-Block captains, is there an age minimum?
There's not, we have quite a few people that come and sign up because their children are so interested. So their parent signs up, but they are welcome to participate.
But my 13-year-old could sign up potentially, right?
absolutely.
As a captain, and she can have that as her own
Absolutely.
responsibility? Perfect.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
And I know you mentioned the counselors to the south as far as this, the partnership with Keys to Work, but I noticed there's some 2 districts on the west side that aren't touched as well. And so so as you're looking to expand, I think it would be great if you could touch all of our districts so we can promote that within our communities as well. And then the last one is you talked about that statistically significant research, and I think that is a huge number. I mean, I know 12% doesn't sound like a lot, but just an investment like this to a reduction in gun violence. Do you know what the p-value was in that research? Can you get that data from us?
Yes, the confidence interval is between 6 and 20%.
Thank you. Perfect.
And I would also like to add, please have your constituents report litter to the Mayor's Action Center so we can have that data. As we have been looking at it about once a year to adjust our routes, just so that we have enough time to work on the same roads and see if they're getting better over time. But that is data that we definitely need, or if there are areas that you want us to keep in mind, let us know, because we try to find all the litter. Sometimes it moves, sometimes it happens once and then it's cleaned up, and sometimes there are continuous areas.
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you. Yeah, we can make a competition out of it. Sure, we can do something like that.
Yeah, where have you been though? Seriously, where have you been? Because, well, actually, the 2 districts that I was helping out in, McCormick was not part of them, so I can't blame her. But you know what? She is part of the West Side, so she should be helping out a little bit. There was Holt Rd that I know Jeb Barden, and he had a whole team of people cleaning it, and then literally 2 days later, it's like right back to where it was. But I did two TWO cleanups, and there were no city councilors there. There was one on the west side, which was on Harding and Morris, and then there was one in Drexel Gardens. One was Kristen Jones, one was Jared Evans. They were not there. They don't give a damn about littering. I've never seen Jessica McCormick doing any cleanup, so it's pretty obviously Fiona does not give a damn either.
Council, I would just add one other thing, which is that there are a few roads that are actually just too busy and unsafe, even, and so there have been some opportunities. Councilor Boots, for example, was able to help us get IMPD assistance to slow traffic down to a safe speed so that the crews could clean up along Binford.
Yes. And we're going to have brag support, so we're going to do a few more of those throughout the year with the crew.
Yeah, we'll see if you
otherwise it
show
wouldn't
up,
be safe enough
McCormick.
for them, but with IMPD, we can do that.
So it's not for lack of love,
Right.
but we could definitely go.
12% to IMPD, and I'm gonna guess you'll get some off-duty officers that would be happy to
Oh.
slow roll their car behind some groups, so.
Oh, so they have to do it for free and help out if they want to. Okay, but I bet you're not going to do anything.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you,
Why
Madam
don't
Chair.
you- why don't you help out
In the
Fiona?
interest of time, I don't need an answer, and I don't think you can provide one right now, but I would be interested in knowing if the excluded cities that you mentioned are excluded for various reasons, if there would be a way that they could buy in or opt in, so that, like, City of Southport is, frankly, I think it's too small to recreate a lot of this on their own, but they are very interested in a lot of the programs you have, so if there would be a way to create a fund model or something, I think they would be interested.
Councilor, I have a quick response to that, which is that, so this presentation was really focused on the contract that KIB receives from the City of Indianapolis. So we are precluded from using City of Indianapolis funds for those areas. However, we do get funding from a variety of different sources, as I mentioned, so we do work in places like Southport and Beech Grove and Speedway. So we are able to do that, just not with city dollars. It would have to be other dollars.
Yeah, I think what I'm asking is the stuff that you can't do because it's funded with City of Indianapolis dollars. Could we create something where we simply say this is the dollar value that Southport could gain access to the same programs, and we say this is the dollar value it would cost for Southport to contribute and buy in,
We would be
essentially.
open to that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Wonderful. Any other? Counselor Boots?
Just briefly, I would just like to make a public statement of how great of an asset KIB is to our city, and some of the wonderful work you've done, not only in litter abatement, but in some tree plantings. It has really helped, I think, to get a synergistic impact with the community groups, as you mentioned, Summer, with Bragg getting involved and getting DPW, and we had the dumpsters, and we had the trash trucks, we had the police. I mean, it was quite an army, and we got a lot of just incredible compliments on everybody passing through town saw what KIB and what our...
Do you think that well, they just said Dan Boots was able to get IMPD to help out. If you didn't have a city councilor that got IMPD out there, would they have been out there? Or is it because you're in a position of power where you can kind of play the cards right? Can normal people do this?
Local Bragg group was doing for those days, so I just commend you for that. And as much as you can, for example, on these green space, if you could generate some flyers or some canned promo
And put out some
material
false
that you could
information,
distribute
sure.
to us, that we could just
Maybe not false,
cut and
but definitely
paste
fake.
and post, I think we
Maybe
could
not
really
fake,
drive
but
some
skewed.
growth to these programs for you.
Yeah, some
Because we
skewed
got
misinformation.
people,
yeah.
Like you said,
It's all fake and
now I'm
lame.
gonna start, you're
Let's
gonna
not
get a lot
let's
more
not get
phone calls
ourselves.
from angry people talking about litter. I didn't know I could send them to you, Jeremy. I appreciate
Send them your way.
I do screen some of those calls.
Yeah.
Well, just know that when they come to us, we will ask them to be part of a solution.
Of course.
Yeah.
There you go.
Final quick question, if I may. Do you find, and this has to do with MAC, do you find the information that you're getting from MAC is useful, or are there improvements that can be made? Internally, we're trying to look at least personally, I am, and part of a project, how can we improve MAC?
Well, here's a good start. How about they actually do their job? I have put a request in to have a pothole fixed on my street twice now, and they haven't done it. DPW is run by morons. And if Dan Boots does not understand that, then he's a moron.
It needs improvement. What can we do for it?
One thing that I believe they're already aware of is that you have to put an address in for where the incident occurs, and if someone's reporting like dumped items along a waterway, there may not be an address.
Yeah.
That makes it more difficult to locate. So I know folks have had some difficulty with that.
Okay.
And Council, I would just add, I think that there are some constituents in the city that are well aware of how to do a request indie type of request and get that in there. And I think that there are a lot, and particularly for those for whom English is not their first language.
Well, best learn it.
They just may not be aware of that resource and may not trust that putting a request into that resource would result in a response.
Or they're worried about DHS landing in their front door.
So I do think that it is the best resource that we have for government data, but it is incomplete. So we do have to augment that with our own on-the-ground inspections. But again, we can't be everywhere all at once.
Sure. All right. Thank you very much.
Any other questions or concerns? Well, thank you. I think it just takes all of us working together, and we appreciate you being part of that, as you said, a solution. So I appreciate your time tonight and being patient with us, and I appreciate our colleagues sticking around and staying with us. So thank you very much. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Thank you all.
I wasn't elected to go to a Pacer.
Well, that was just fun and dumb, wasn't it? Well, I do have a feeling that that $90 million of bonds is probably going to go to help somewhat of the new soccer stadium. I'm going to have to ask around or try and find those projects that they're planning on spending that money on, and then just keep track of what's actually being worked on. So, yeah, and I will probably make that KIB thing into a separate short clip of me explaining it. So the next committee meeting will be the full council meeting, I believe, which will be May 13th. This one wasn't even supposed to happen if you look at the calendar, so everything got moved. Tomorrow, if you're still watching, Monday, I will be telling you who I am voting for governor in the primary. So forget to watch that video. You are going to love it, or you're going to hate it. Either way, it's going to be funny. So, until next time.